All right, well, today, let me get our screen sharing going here. Today, we will be talking about classic technique and setting up our workout for this morning. So let's go here. Okay, so you guys should be able to see that screen. All right, and once again, if you put it into speaker mode and then put me somewhere on your screen, move me around wherever you like, so that we can see our slideshow, and then you can also see me when it comes time for me to dance around and do my portion. All right, so let's get started here. Today's classic session, fundamentals of classic gears. Okay, so we're going to be talking about our classic technique. Just a second here, just trying to make sure that I can see myself. Whoops. All right. Okay. We're going to be talking about our classic gears. We're going to set up a workout, a classic roller ski with technique and accelerations. Now, some of you right now are like, woo, no classic roller skis. That's okay. We do have an alternative workout for you as well. And then once again, before we leave, we're going to start up. We're going to get you going on the day with some mobility. Okay. So just, yesterday's session, we presented some theory behind technique and why we need to focus on it and the gears. We're going to review some of that today, so there will be some sections of it that we'll blitz through a little bit quicker, thus allowing us a bit more time to focus on some specific elements of technique today. But notice that the sessions or the workouts aren't super specific to one element of technique, so we're not just following maybe a double pole progression or striding progression. It's more of an overview to provide you, the athlete, with the skills to analyze your own technique. And, important for this time, maybe when you're without coaching opportunities, but just as we talked about Friday evening, Jess gave us the presentation. So much of our work is done often on our own and doing long distance skis and in zone 1, right? So such great opportunity, those distance skis and time on our own to analyze our technique and to work on technique. So it's an idea, giving you the idea of how to break down your technique. Okay. So classic gears. So we can talk about first gear is striding, and we'll talk about the sub gears in a second. Second gear, kick double pull. Third gear, double pull. Once again, sometimes we see people double pulling, other people kick double pulling. Sometimes people are diagonal striding, when other people are kick double pulling. Depends on who you are as a skier. Okay. Our classic sub gears. Okay, so each gear has a sub gear, and tempo, oftentimes generally dictated by the length of the pull stroke. That determines our tempo. That is how we differentiate between gears. There's other things that come into play as well too. Same thing goes for skating. Best skiers, they are always transitioning and adjusting their skiing according to the speed determined by the terrain conditions. So we have a couple things to show here. Now, are you guys seeing this right here? Sorry, just give me a little feedback here. Are you guys seeing this? Thumbs up? No? Okay. Good to know.
I think you may need to scroll across, Matt, across your screen.
Like that?
There it is.
Perfect. All right. So here we are, Nordic Team Solutions. This is Andy Newell, and he's got an extensive library of great videos. So what we wanted to show here is a little video just showing the different gears within double pull. Okay, just to give you guys an idea. Once again, we're not going to explain and review too extensively, but show you an idea of how we transition through double pulling gears. So let's watch this right here, talking about a climbing gear. All right, much shorter gear. Hips and hands come up together. They always meet at the top, but shorter in terms of the extension through the back. All right, so notice how those hands aren't used, aren't going past the hips. Now this, flats gear, all right, hands and hips meet at the top, the hips lead, hands follow up, and look at that longer extension through the back, right? Another double pole sub gear, okay, and then an acceleration gear, everything comes up together in the same way, the climbing gear, all right, and then watches this transition into a flats gear right here, okay, where the hips lead, but everything, once again, key point of time, meets at the top. All right, so let's carry on here, put this down. Oh, wait, I think we want to show, yes, all right, this guy right here. Let's go back a little ways in this video. This is the Blink Festival last year. I like watching the Blink Festival for summer training because we get to see the mode of training that we're doing in the summer, which is roller skiing. We'll just mute that Norwegian audio. All right. And here we are, Blink Festival, and we are going to see one of my favorite and debatably one of the best classic skiers, diagonal striders in the world, Niskanen, striding up this hill right here, leading the pack. All right. So this is our diagonal striding. This is what we see, what we oftentimes refer to as diagonal striding, and the main gear. Watch, we can see the whole pack coming, but we can also watch and see some other forms of striding, or sub gears, if you will. Now this is something here, let's see. This is something that is becoming more and more prevalent, all right, in cross-country skiing. Klæbo loves to do this, all right. One thing we don't often see is this being done on roller skis, but it is, in the same way they do it on skis, important to be able to replicate this on roller skis. We are going to see a little bit of running here at the end of the race. Bump, 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 bump. Lots of same principles, body positioning, no glide. All right, we can still consider that a striding sub gear. Okay, and then just one more I want to show you here, and it's actually, all right, a bit of a transition here from running to striding. Okay, so let's just watch this. This is Andy Newell once again. All right, let's watch him do it this last time. So he's going to be running into a stride. Right, notice the similarities.
Drills and weekly
Notice the dynamic nature of the kick with both the run and the stride. Notice the body position, not much change there. All right, tempo and frequency are what we see changing. Okay, so I just move I feel like I have 16 windows open here. Move around from one to the other. Okay, so classic sub gears. Technique fundamentals. We talked about this yesterday, review it again today. Body position, balance, and timing. Okay, as we talked about yesterday, each of these parameters has an A, B, and C. Okay, once again today, we focus on the fundamentals, ensuring our A's are solid. Okay, so now moving into body position. Okay, so our body position, when we are, just a sec here, I want to make sure. I said I have a lot of screens going on. Whoops. All right. Body position, ready position, very similar as we talked about in skate technique across all of our techniques. Classic skiing, once again, very similar. Okay. This is a position where we're going into that forward. All right, we're coming, our feet are together, our hands are moving in the forward direction, bringing momentum forward. Want to maintain ankle flexion, forefront of the foot weighted, slight knee, hip flexion, okay, pelvis not out, tucked, right, hip square and level. We see this less often in classic skiing, but we still do, especially as we start to extend under our kick. Chest open, shoulders flexed, moderately flexed elbow, head erect, vision forward. Okay, so we can see this through all of our classic techniques. Now, what we're going to do today, a little bit different than yesterday, because we've gone through a lot of this, is highlight some things that we often see, things that we often have to correct within techniques. And one thing that really comes to mind with regards to body position, the ready position in classic technique, is the following. Okay, so if you see here, we have on the left side of the screen, okay, this is Sadie Bjornsson, great skier, and we can see that angle at the ankle is the same as the angle of the back, all right? And what's really important about this is that angle at the ankle, that really dynamic, the flexion at the ankle and the knee drive, and that forward position allows her to press down and generate power down through the kick, right? Versus on the right-hand side, we don't see as much of an angle at the ankles. We still see that angle through the back, right? This generally results in what we consider a late kick, which we'll see later on, right? But the difference in how the timing of your kick is often derived from the position you start from, so the ready position, all right? So it's a case of what happens and why, and the reason that oftentimes we get this late kick is because we have our feet not positioned properly and our body ankles, upper body, not positioned properly in order to effectively put our force where we want to, which in the kick is down and not back. Okay? So this is a very, very common thing. And for you guys, today we'll talk about what your workout is. This is one thing that I really want to see, because we oftentimes see I want you guys to focus on this, because we oftentimes see in roller skiing, we don't have that ankle flexion. We're a bit timid to get forward in that position. And because we have such great grip on those skis, we can still kick, whether it's late or whether it's on time. Okay? Moving on. Balance. Okay, so you notice these parameters are very similar across all our techniques. Okay, so one ski only, okay, maybe a slight difference for double pull, granted. All right, not kick double pull though. All right, but striding and kick double pull, we want to see ourselves on one ski only. Okay, once again, as talked about yesterday, this needs to be a controlled, deliberate transition from one ski to the other. There needs to be alignment, right, before and after that transition of weight. Okay, this is one thing we talked about yesterday, where we don't put the foot down too early and then slide it forward. All right, so we don't have that our timing isn't determined by our balance. Our timing is determined by the terrain and the tempo with which we want to ski. Okay. So a common thing that we see, but maybe we don't think about it as often, so coaches see, but maybe as an athlete you don't think about it as often, is the balance with our kick double pull. Okay, so we can have two pictures here. All right, on the left we see that this skier is actually engaging in a one ski glide phase during kick double pull. Okay, so you can notice that that front wheel is just gently grazing the ground, and they are actively gliding on the lead leg in the kick double pull. In the picture on the right, what we see is that person is not gliding on one ski in the kick double pull. Okay, like I said, we're often familiar with this, and we focus on this in striding, which is why I'm highlighting the kick double pull here. It's something we don't often think about. Kick double pull, we think scissor out, back, right? But do we actually focus on that nice long glide phase in the kick double pull? Okay, so this is something that I wanted to highlight because I think we see it often, and especially on roller skis, right? We can really get away with some lazy, let's just call it lazy, kick double pull. And particularly with roller skis, you know, resistance, fast, maybe a lot of like very or not much resistance, fast moving, a lot of gradual terrain that we see in the summer. We do a lot of kick double pull it sometimes. And if we're gonna do a lot of it, we better do it right. So considering that glide phase in the kick double pull. Timing, okay? So coordination, the A, all right? The most fundamental elements of timing, okay? So striding, opposing arm and leg, okay? We're gonna talk about this, kick one center mass to top foot, to drive force down. I just alluded to that previously. We're gonna review this in a second. Kick double pull, arms forward with kick. Same thing as with the striding, all right? So we wanna make sure that we kick right here versus back here, that picture that we just saw, all right? For balance, also can equal leg kick, okay? Double pull, we saw a video earlier, hands and hips meet at the top, come down together. Hips might lead first to come up, or everything might come up together, depending on whether you're doing a short or longer double pull, but everything needs to meet at the top and come down together. Motion smooth and rhythmic. That's one of the reasons I love watching Niskanen ski. It is so hard to tell where the cycle begins and ends. He's very, very smooth. Okay? And once again, with or without pulls, to same standard. And on both sides. Trickier, or kick double pull and double pull for sure. Doable to an extent, yes. Whoops, 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 whoops. Let's just see here. Okay, thank you. I had some some chat questions there. They were from a while ago. So let's check out this video right here. Okay. All right, so here we're gonna watch a video of two skiers diagonal striding. These are the same two skiers that we saw earlier in the still frames. And we're just gonna watch the video, and we're gonna actually link it to those still frames. You'll see them come up. And this talks about kicking, the timing of the kick, all right? And when the center of mass is a top foot, drive force down versus a later kick, okay? So the first one right here, notice that that kick is extending a lot behind, and we see a lot of that power being generated later, okay? There's also oftentimes coupled with this is a bit of an extension through the back, all right? And notice how a lot of this stems from that position, that ready position to start. Okay, so those ankles aren't flexed quite as much. All right, now here we see obviously steep hill there, Soldier Hollow, I believe. Okay, so this here is an example of Sadie, all right, keeping center of mass over top of the skis and thus allowing for better timed kick. All right, and you watch here as we see that ankle flexion back, same as that ankle flexion, paralleling that, right? Better timed kick. Notice how one thing relates to the other. Okay. So, moving forward here. We're going to talk, actually, before we go forward, I just wanted to invite, I noticed that Chris is here today. Chris, did you have anything to add to any of these before we get into the workout of the day?
No, but I do think that, I think it's important for athletes to watch videos, whether it be World Cup videos or just general videos on roller skiing versus skiing, because there is a big difference between roller skiing and skiing. So I think it's really important that you guys understand that in general, when you start watching videos, there is a little bit of a different style to kicking when you're on roller skis when you have perfect grip. And I think that there is sometimes that by the end of the summer, that can change how you kick a little bit. So I think it's really important, as Matt just mentioned, that you really focus on where you kick with diagonal stride on roller skis, because it's very easy to kick long with perfect grip. And I think that is one of the biggest, I would say, once you get up to the BC team, that's one of the biggest problems we see, is that guaranteed kick sometimes by the end of the summer can affect the technique as you come onto snow.
Yeah. Thank you. Good point. Workout of the day. Okay. So today, we have a 90-minute zone 1 classic roller ski with technique, focus, and accelerations. Okay, now, like I said, for those of you without classic roller skis, we have an alternative for you. Okay. This workout, and also, like I said at the start too, oftentimes workouts with our team will have a very specific focus for the workout. This one is, once again, we're presenting you with a technique the skills to be able to analyze your technique and figure out what you need to work on. Also figure out what you're good at, but figure out what you need to work on, turn those into technique objectives as per that worksheet. Right? So starting with 15 minutes, easy with poles. Okay, maybe not too much classic roller skiing yet this year. Maybe you have, awesome. If you haven't, that's all right, you've got plenty of time. Getting used to classic roller skiing. Then nice easy warm-up. Then we're going to take poles off. The majority of the poles off session is going to be focused on striding. Okay, and really big thing is thinking about within the striding, as we talked about, going through that progression of the A's, the ready position. Okay, so we want to make sure that we have that ankle flexion, all right, this forward position here, we have those hips tucked, we're looking for, all right? We want to make sure that we're in that positive forward position. If you think about it right here, forward position, I am falling forward. Without your poles, you better put those skis down in front of you, otherwise you will fall on the ground. Okay. That being said, while we have the poles off, let's take a stab at both kick double pull and double pull. Yes, double pull. Let's watch this video here. All right, once again, Andy giving us some great demonstrations. And here, and those of you who've been to Talent South camps before, you are familiar with this. All right, here we're gonna do a little demonstration of our double pull without pulls. This is great when used isolated in a double pull progression, awesome. I want you guys to play around with this today. This is for those skiers who have ratchets on their skis, so classic skis. If you have skate skis, it's going to be hard, okay? So yes, working on bringing everything forward together, timing, hands coming up, all right, for that double pull without pulls. Once again, when assessing your technique, be critical. Remember, talked about the last dance with Jordan. All right, this is free throw after free throw after free throw. Okay, and move on one step at a time. No, you need ratchets for that. Yeah, you need. So the question was, can you do that on skate skis here? It's quite difficult to do on skate skis, near impossible. Good question, Chloe. Okay, so well, all right. So then once we do our no pulls, once again focusing on the striding, but giving everything else a little try, double pull and kick double pull, experiment, have some fun. Then you're gonna put your pulls on and you're gonna repeat that focus, okay? I have including the double pull in here, ignore that, we're gonna focus on all the techniques, striding, kick, double pole. And within this, and I like when we try to work a bit of technique and speed together, I like using accelerations. All right, so we're focused, I always say, focus. I always say first we get slow, then we get good. All right, so we want to do this slow speed, and throughout this progression, as you're analyzing your technique and thinking of things you need to work on, all right, then add in some accelerations. Okay, so 10 to 20 accelerations. So we're starting from slow, getting up to speed, all right, with a couple minute recovery in between them, and use a variety of terrain so that you can use different gears, and then pay attention and notice those transition between the sub gears. Okay. So this is kind of tying a lot of the stuff together that we learned, and of course, giving us some speed. Speed is important. Doesn't matter the time of year, it's always great to be doing some speed work. Finally, 15-minute easy ski with poles to finish. Now, if no skate skis, that's no problem. You guys are going to do a modified workout. So once again, start with that 15 minutes easy, double poling. Okay. As you start to feel ready, I want you to focus on the A's for double poling. Okay. So not the no poles part with skate skis, but do the with poles component of that. Focus on the A's, go through the ready position. All right. And the rhythm, just 2 A's. All right. Think about that. As you're doing that, include these accelerations. Okay, so you can include 10 accelerations. So you can do it with short double pole, you can do it with long double pole, accelerating into that long double pole. You can do it on some steeper sections. All right, so use those sub gears, transition between the sub gears. Do that for 30 minutes. 30 to 45 minutes, or until you start to notice, and if you haven't done much double pulling, after 45 minutes, an hour double pulling, or maybe even before, your technique's going to start to break down. Okay, so at the point when your technique starts to break down double pulling, that's when you can transition to either no pulls, okay, so you can skate ski, no pulls, and we can revisit our focus on the A's that we talked about yesterday. Or if you have your poles, you can do, or your proper skate poles, you can transition between no poles and with poles up to that 90-minute mark. Okay, so you can still do a 90-minute workout. Our technique focus begins with our A's for double poling, include those accelerations, and finish off once technique starts to deteriorate double poling with no poles and or with poles, but skate skiing and skate poles. Okay, we don't want you to be skate skiing with your plastic poles. Okay. Roller ski safety, we talked about this yesterday. Helmet, high visibility t-shirt or vest, eye protection, gloves, ski in single file. All right, so if you guys are going with skiing with a group, that's okay, that's fine as long as they're in small groups. But we are still, there's a reason that we're not at a camp together. It was mentioned today at the onset of this meeting by another coach to remind everyone about our social distancing requirements, okay? So we can still keep a distance while we're skiing in a group. Once again, we had a bit of a rainstorm last night, a rain event, so be careful if it is raining in your area, right? Use caution. You, your coach, your other athletes, your parents, figure out whether it is okay to go skiing or whether you should save this workout for another day. Let's see here. Use an umbrella. What should I do if it's raining really hard? Use an umbrella. So you can, once again, if it's raining really hard, you can wait a little while. Maybe the rain will subside. Hopefully it doesn't rain hard for the whole day for you. Otherwise, you can do an alternate workout, whether it's a run or an indoor workout if you have a trainer inside, or treadmill, if you really don't like going outside in the rain. And you can save this workout for another day if you think that is the best option. Do you need to buy classic roller skis? totally depends on what your club programming offers. Some club programs offer some classic roller skis, and if yours doesn't, it's a great idea to train on classic roller skis. We really try to imitate our on snow time when we're off snow. So yes, ski striding can help imitate that, but classic roller skiing is likely the very best way that you can do that, all right, as long as we practice proper technique. So it is great having classic roller skis to be able to practice your technique year round. Okay. I think that's all for me. So once again, mobility with Andrea. And then guys, just a reminder, if you guys, if you guys are, stop share. If you guys are have any questions, you can email Andrea or myself. We are going to do a camp wrap up at 1 today. All right. So any questions that you guys have, email us if they haven't been answered already, and we will wrap up the camp there. It will likely be a shorter session unless we get bombarded with a whole slew of questions, which is totally fine. Bring it on. But we'll see you again at 1. So Andrea.
Okay, great. Can everybody hear me and see me? Okay, good morning, everyone. So we're just gonna do a little bit of mobility. We've got about a little bit less than 15 minutes, so that should be perfect. We're gonna do a bunch of a short series of exercises this morning to kind of get us started. But before we do that, I just want to go over very briefly. So when we're talking about mobility, yesterday I showed you three, like I call them the big three. So 3 different movements that kind of address all of the planes of motion that our body goes through. So we have 3 planes. We have the sagittal plane, the front and back. We have the frontal plane, the side to side, and we have the transverse plane, which is the rotation. So the whole idea behind mobility is to make sure that all of those things move. We want them to move in a series of connected actions. And sometimes you may also want to work on just a very specific singular motion that maybe you have some issues with. So for example, you might have stiff shoulders. So you may do some specific mobility exercises just for your shoulders. You might have some hip stability issues or movement issues. So you might do some exercises that specifically target just that one area. And many of you probably have, you might have strength and conditioning coaches attached to your team. You might have a physio attached to your team. You might have some support people that have some health practitioners that have background in this that are helping you with your team. So that's always a really, really good thing to do. So I just want to put a plug in right now for some, what we would call like functional assessment, functional mobility assessment at the beginning of the year, especially is a really, really important thing to do. Probably most of your coaches have that in a plan or are going to have it in the plan fairly soon. If that's not something that is in your club program right now or your coaches are doing, then just have a check-in with them about whether or not that is something that you could get organized or you could at least assess somewhere in your community. Because it's really important to do some of those things now at the beginning of the year. Because certainly my experience has been, I've always seen where there's been some functional mobility issues, it relates to a technique issue and a skiing issue down the track. So sorting some of those things out with how our body moves makes a big difference in your technique down the road, and then of course your performance down the road. So addressing those things singularly is a really good idea if there's a need to do that. Then just in general terms of mobility, we want to do exercises that kind of use all of the different planes. So we're not just going back and forth, we're not going sideways. We can do some exercises that combine a whole bunch of those different modes of motion. So that's what I want to do this morning. So I'm just going to go through 8 short exercises. I'm going to get you to actually do them. So I'll do a quick little demo and then I'm going to put a clock on and you're going to do each one for 20 seconds if it's a left side and a right side, or 30 seconds if it's just a continuous one. So maybe if you can give yourself, I'll give you like 30 seconds to a minute to kind of turn your screen on so that we can see you. Hopefully you could still, so put yourself, set up your screen so that you can see me, but that we can see. I'm going to go to grid view so that I can see a few of you, or as many, and maybe some of the coaches can help out with this as well. And then if you can find a little bit of space in your area, if you have a towel or a mat, because we're going to do a few things on the floor, that would be great to set up. Okay. Let me just, set myself up so that I can see kind of my head, but not, hang on, I'll figure this out eventually. Okay, so let's start with our first exercise. And I've sent you this in so you will get a page that has all of these, the ones from yesterday as well as the ones from today. You'll get a link to a video, and you'll also get a description of some of the exercises that we're going to do today. And you'll notice that there's a lot of crossover, right? So you're going to see a whole, there's 1,000 videos out there and exercises that you can do. At the end of the day, if you're looking after good posture, good core, good mobility, then that's really what we're after. Okay, so let's start our first one. It's going to be a single leg hip rotation. So same thing, you can practice. These sorts of things help all the things that Matt just talked about. So we're just going to stand on one foot, hands out to the side, raise your knee, and we're just going to go in and out, and then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to start our clock. You're going to do left side for 20 seconds. Ready and go. And 5 more seconds. Okay, now you're going to switch sides. The hips out, opening up as much as possible. Okay, and stop. All right, so next one we're going to work on is one that we call marching twist. So we're going to put our hands behind our heads, and we're going to stay standing. We're going to march and twist. So I'm going to lift up my one leg and then rotate towards it. Lift up my other leg, rotate towards it. Hand up. All right, so for 30 seconds. Ready, go. Alternating back and forth. Okay, so we're just rotating the body. You don't have to have your knees coming, your elbows coming to your knees. So knee up and just rotate. Another 10 seconds. Okay, and stop. All right, we'll go, so number 3, this one's called the low lunge twist and reach. So I'm gonna show it to you sideways. So you're gonna stand, feet together. We're gonna do a lunge, step back, and then we're going to reach up to the sky. So we're gonna lunge back. Hopefully you can see this, hands down. Now I'm gonna reach up and then return to that position. Other side, step forward a little bit. We'll lunge back, reach up, back to the standing position. All right, for this one, let's do 10 on each side. Okay, here you go. Ready? And 1. Okay, so you're gonna do 10 on each side. So lunge, step, reach, I'll just take a bit of a guess when people are at 10. If you don't quite get 10 done, no worries. What's my next one? Good, nice big reach. Matt, what are you on?
$37.
Okay. All right, how about we'll just go, let's just do another 5, wherever you're at. Left or right? I should have probably timed that one for you. That one's a hard one to time though. Look at Matt's awesome demo. Nice. Okay, maybe you didn't get 10 done on each side. Maybe you got 37 done on each side. All right, let's move to the next one. Okay, so now we're going to, so if you think about what Matt just talked about, the ready position. So we're going to put ourselves, our hands are going to be up as if we had poles. We're going to be in our ready position. We're going to jump and twist and turn back into the ready position. So it's just simply jump and turn. All right, we'll do that for 30. Ready, go. Okay, and try and get yourself into the ready position so that you're feeling the pressure on the balls of your feet, slightly flexed forward. Jump all the way 180 degrees. Okay, another 10 seconds.
Should we switch directions?
We are switching directions, are we not?
I meant direction that we're turning.
Oh, I see. Yeah, yes. Okay, so you can so we're at a minute. So if you've done 180-degree turn to the left, let's try a couple 180-degree turn to the right. Okay, I'll give you another 10 seconds for that. All right. Okay, now I'm gonna lower my camera a little bit. I'm gonna do just a couple on the ground. So if you can sit yourself down. This is another one that you've probably seen lots of, the Russian twist. So I'm just gonna sit down. I'm gonna use my handy dandy dumbbell here at home because I don't have a gym. So, you know, laundry soap works just as fine. So I'll do it on the side. So we're gonna have ourselves off the ground and then we're just going to twist back and forth like so with our weights. Everybody's seen this one before. So find if you have something, if not, don't worry about it. Don't go running to get the laundry soap. Okay, ready, go. We'll do that for 30 seconds. And stop. Okay, one more on the floor. So a good one that you've probably all seen before. We're gonna go into a plank position on the forearms. And instead of holding the plank, we're gonna do a rotating plank. So we're just gonna be forward and then to the side. And then back to forward and then to the other side. Forward to the side. Okay, ready? Go. So I call this the rotisserie as well. We're like a chicken on a rotisserie. Going center, one side, center, the other side. And stop. Okay, two more, last two. So this one, you do need to do a little bit of moving. If you want to move, just if you have a small space, just kind of go back and forth. It's what we do when we have to do mobility inside in a different way. So this is just the pivot and twist. So we're going to have our hands up here. We're going to go into a squat. We're going to pivot backwards. Squat, pivot, backwards. Important thing is making sure that you maintain a good squat position. I don't want to see any of that. I want to be in a good position here, good, nice, solid, ready position with the upper body. Okay, ready, go. About 10 more seconds. And stop. Okay, our last one called thread the needle. So you're gonna put hands on your knees. You're gonna take one hand off your knee, and this little hole that you've created there, you're gonna thread the hand through there, reach up as far as you can, and then follow your hand and reach up to the sky as far as you can. So we're gonna go in, and then reach up. So we'll do one side first. We'll do it for 20 seconds. Ready, go. And switch sides. And stop. Okay. Interesting ways that we do mobility exercises and training these days, indoors and in unusual places. You should be hopefully a little bit warm now. But anyway, again, that's a short series. It's really not, there isn't a magic set of exercises. There's a lot of really great exercises out there that your coaches probably have some for you to do. Have a list of things. If not, there's a ton of information on the internet, and I've sent a few of you, or I've sent a few examples to you that you'll get in the package for after the camp. And other than that, just keep working on that mobility, which is going to impact your technique, which is going to ultimately impact your performance. And that's what we're all about. Okay? All right, that's it for me.
Yeah, I don't have much more to add. Thanks for that, Andrea. That is a great way to end our session and set us up for our roll. So have a great roll, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you at 1 p.m. Chris, Maria, anything to add?
Just one thing, Matt. I think it's important that all the athletes video themselves every once in a while, and I think that the parents can video them, whether they send it to us or you or Andrea, or just look at themselves. I think it's important to look at yourselves on video, because what you think you're doing and what you are doing is usually quite a bit different. So I think it's a really good idea to once a week to be able to video yourself skiing in whatever technique that you just want to see. It's a good benefit to you, and as well if you want to send it to your coach or to you guys. I think it's also a good thing to see.
Great, thank you.